For 40 years, I raised my son with unconditional love. On his wedding night, they put me in the basement. "Mom, just for one night," they said. That one night changed their lives, because when I woke up the next morning, I had become someone else. If this story finds you, please subscribe and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. This isn't just a story. This is a lesson. My name is Helen. I'm 62 years old, and until last week's events, I believed my family loved me. But sometimes the things hidden behind the mask of love show their true faces at the most unexpected moments. My only son, James, had become the center of my life. After my husband Henry died of a heart attack 10 years ago, my whole world started revolving around James. Until he got married, the two of us were enough for each other. A comfortable, quiet life in our Chicago home. James had studied law at Northwestern. Now 32 years old, he's a successful attorney. Meeting Jessica changed everything in our lives. Jessica was a beautiful girl, I won't deny that. But her family's style was very different from what we were used to. Jessica's family had old money. Her father, Robert, owned a large construction company. Her mother, Patricia, was well known in Chicago's social circles. For them, everything was about status and appearance. When I first met them, they had welcomed me politely but distantly. They introduced me as James's mother, as if I were someone unimportant who didn't require a title. I didn't try to be too warm either, but I showed respect. When wedding plans began, everything became clearer. Jessica's mother, Patricia, wanted to interfere with almost everything. From flowers to venue, from food to the guest list, she wanted to control every detail. "Helen, don't worry," she'd constantly say. "We'll handle these things. You just come and enjoy yourself." These words seemed polite, but they actually meant, "Don't interfere, we know better." When I tried to explain this situation to James, he'd say, "Mom, they just want the wedding to be perfect." As the wedding approached, more direct messages started coming. Jessica came to the house one day and said, "Helen, I want to talk about room arrangements for guests on the wedding night." "Of course, dear. What are you thinking?" "We reserved a suite at the Ritz-Carlton for our family. Dad, Mom, my brother and I will stay there. James, of course, will be with me." "What about me?" Jessica hesitated a bit. Maybe it would be better if you stayed home. You know, you'll be very tired after the wedding. You'll be more comfortable at home." This hurt me. "Jessica, I'm family too. I want to be with my family on the wedding night." "Of course, Helen, but the suite is very small. And we young people can be a bit noisy. You'd want to rest." When I brought this up with James, he said, "Mom, Jessica's right. You'll get tired. You'll be more comfortable at home." These words broke my heart. But I didn't speak up. When the wedding day arrived, everything had been very grand. The wedding was held at a private mansion in Glen Ellen. The food, music, decorations, everything was perfect, but I felt very alone. After the ceremony, everyone had tearfully congratulated James. I was very happy too, of course, but something was missing. Even at that moment, I felt left out. Late in the evening, when everyone was getting ready to go to the hotel, Jessica approached me. "Helen, you look tired. Go home and rest." "Jessica, can't I come with you? This is my son's wedding night." Patricia intervened. "Helen, you're old. Let this young couple live their time. You'll be better off at home." I looked at James. I was going to ask him for help with a look, but he was talking to Jessica, not even noticing me. "Okay," was all I could say. "I'll go home." But the expression in Jessica's eyes seemed like relief. "Great. You sleep well. We'll talk tomorrow." As I drove home, my heart was in pieces. I had given everything for this child for 40 years, and on his wedding night, I was leaving him to his family and going home alone. James called in the morning. Mom, how are you? I'm fine, son. The wedding was beautiful. Thank you. Listen, Mom, we're going on our honeymoon. We'll talk when we get back. Of course, dear. And Mom? Yes? Jessica is a bit sensitive these days. Marriage adaptation and all. I'd appreciate it if you didn't call too much. She needs time. This sentence finished me. I understand, James. After they returned from their honeymoon, everything changed. James called much less frequently now. Once a month, maybe less. I hesitated to visit the house where he and Jessica had started living together, because I saw discomfort on Jessica's face every time. One day I gathered my courage and went to visit them. When Jessica opened the door, there was no pleasure on her face. Oh, Helen! You've come? Hello, dear. Is James home? Yes, but he's very tired. Work was very busy this week. James was watching TV in the living room. When he saw me, he stood up, but seemed very reluctant. Hello, Mom. How are you? I'm fine, son. I wanted to see you. Of course. Sit down. But Jessica's eyes were constantly on me, as if she was calculating when I would leave. Mom, would you like tea? James asked. I would. While Jessica went to the kitchen, James turned to me. Mom, how are you really? James, I feel a bit lonely. Mom, you're a strong woman. You'll get used to it. But you're my only family. Mom, I'm married now. Jessica and I are building our own life. When Jessica returned with tea, the atmosphere was tense. Shortly after, James said, Mom, it would be good if you left early. Jessica has an important meeting tomorrow. She wants to go to bed early. I was crying as I drove home. Is this the reward for raising a child? Is this the end of 40 years of sacrifice? But the worst was what I learned a few months later. My neighbor Margaret told me. Helen, Jessica's mother called me yesterday. She said, James's mother is very interfering. She constantly calls, constantly comes. She's not giving the newlyweds space. When I heard these words, my world shifted. Am I interfering? Am I constantly calling? Was I bothering them by calling once a month? I couldn't sleep that night. I questioned my life. I thought about everything I'd done for James. How I spent my retirement pension for him after Henry died. How I worked to pay off the house mortgage early. How I covered his law school expenses. And now, I had become interfering. In the morning, I called my lawyer, Mr. Morrison. He had been handling all my affairs since Henry's death. Mr. Morrison, I want to discuss my will. Of course, Mrs. Coleman. When can you come? Is today possible? Certainly. How about 2 o'clock? When I went to his office that afternoon, Mr. Morrison was curious. What do you want to do, Mrs. Coleman? I want to change my will. In what ways? I'm going to donate everything I set aside for James to charities. Mr. Morrison was surprised. Mrs. Coleman, this is a very big decision. Are you sure? Very sure. What's behind this decision? I told him everything. About the wedding, my loneliness, being labeled as interfering. Mr. Morrison listened quietly. Mrs. Coleman, I understand. But I recommend you think carefully about this decision. Maybe you should talk to James. James doesn't want to talk to me. Jessica's mother finds me interfering. What exactly do you want to do? The house, car, jewelry, savings accounts, all to charities. I won't leave James a penny. Mr. Morrison prepared the will that day. I signed it, got it notarized. Everything was legally complete. As I drove home, I felt a strange relief. For the first time in a long while, I had made a decision for myself. A week later, James called. Mom, I've been a bit distant about calling you lately. I'm sorry. Can you come this weekend? I can come. When I went to them on Saturday, the atmosphere was a bit better. Jessica was even a bit warmer. Helen, please sit down. I'll make tea. When James and I were alone, he said, Mom, I know I've upset you. James, I just love you. I know, Mom. But Jessica needed some time. She's more comfortable now. Okay. Mom, I have something else to tell you. We're thinking about having a baby. This news made me happy. Really? Yes. And Jessica thinks you'd want to see a grandchild. Of course I would. When Jessica returned with tea, James looked at her and asked, Did you tell her? Tell me what? I asked. Helen, I'm pregnant. I stood up with joy. Really? How long? 6 weeks. Congratulations, dear. But then Jessica added, But Helen, it would be good if we kept some distance until the baby is born. I don't want stress. This sentence hurt me again. But I didn't speak up. That evening at home, I thought my decision was right. They don't want me, so I won't be a burden to them. 3 months later, Jessica's mother Patricia called me. Helen, I want to meet with you. Of course, Patricia. About what? The bride is getting married. Jessica's cousin. It'll be a big wedding. You're invited, of course. Thank you. But Helen, I have a request. What is it? There will be very prestigious people at this wedding. It's important for James's career. It would be good if you stayed a bit in the background. What do you mean? I mean, don't talk too much. Don't stand out too much. Quietly attend, enjoy, and leave. This conversation made me very angry, but again, I didn't speak up. When the wedding day came, it was held at a big mansion in Lake Forest. Everything looked very grand, very expensive. I was sitting quietly in the corner. James was dancing with Jessica. Patricia was talking to her prestigious guests. At dinner time, when we were settling at tables, I was shocked. They had seated me at the back table, where the service staff ate. I looked at James. He didn't even see me. He was sitting at another table next to Jessica. During dinner, the waiter next to me asked, Are you also a family friend? I'm James's mother. The waiter was surprised. Who's James? That young man sitting in front, Jessica's husband. Oh, so why did they seat you here? I couldn't answer this question, because I didn't know either. At the end of the wedding, when everyone said they were going to the hotel, Patricia approached me. Helen, you must be tired today. Go home and rest. Patricia, I'm family too. James's mother. Yes, but the young people will have fun tonight. You're old. You'd want to go to bed early. I looked at James with one last hope, but he was whispering something in Jessica's ear. Okay, I said. I'll go home. But Patricia added, Helen, avoid such behaviors in the future. What behaviors? You're constantly trying to put yourself forward. This is our social circle. You should stay a bit in the background. This was the last straw. Patricia, I'm James's mother. I raised him for 40 years. And you want me to stay in the background? Yes, because you're not at our level. At that moment, everything froze. Not at your level? Helen, you're a retired nurse. We're from a different world. James is from our family now. You're the old life. When I heard these words, I was trembling with anger. But I didn't speak up that night. I went home. In the morning, I called Mr. Morrison again. Mr. Morrison, I want to make an addition to my will. What is it, Mrs. Coleman? The only thing I'll leave James should be a letter. After reading this letter, he'll understand why he couldn't get anything. I understand. Write the letter. I'll file it. I wrote that letter. I told everything. How I was excluded how I was humiliated, how I was labeled as interfering. And finally, Patricia's words, "You're not at our level." As I finished the letter, I had written, "James, I loved you unconditionally for 40 years. You loved me conditionally. I gave everything for you. You gave nothing for me. I will remain as your mother, but you are no longer my son, because my son would never humiliate his mother this much." I gave the letter to Mr. Morrison. I had finalized my will. A month later, James called. "Mom, we haven't talked in a long time. How are you?" "I'm fine, James." "Mom, Jessica gave birth. We have a daughter. This news made me happy, of course." "Congratulations. How is she?" "We named her Emma. She's very beautiful." "Can I see her?" James paused a bit. "Mom, Jessica is very sensitive right now. Maybe in a few weeks?" Of course. But those few weeks never came. James constantly postponed. "Jessica's tired. The baby's sick. It's not the right time." 2 months later, I couldn't stand it. I went to the hospital. I found Jessica's room. When I knocked on the door, Jessica said, "Come in." When I entered, Jessica was breastfeeding the baby. When she saw me, her face fell. "Helen, how did you get here?" "I wanted to see my granddaughter." "But I'm not ready." "Where's James?" "I don't know. I came on my own." Jessica got angry. "Very inappropriate. Why didn't you call first?" "I called, but you always postponed." "Because you're being too pushy." When I heard this word, I couldn't stand it. "Jessica, am I being pushy?" "Yes. You don't know boundaries." "What boundaries?" "You interfere too much in our private life. I just want to see my son and granddaughter. But this should be our decision." "You're being too controlling." At that moment, I understood that no matter what I did, I would always be wrong in their eyes. "Okay, Jessica. I won't call from now on." "Good. I won't ask permission to see my granddaughter." "I think that's better. And I won't bother James either." "Great. But I'll say one thing." "What?" "You got rid of me, but I got rid of you too." Jessica was surprised. "What do you mean?" "You'll understand soon." That day as I left the hospital, I felt relieved. I wouldn't beg anyone anymore. I wouldn't wait at anyone's door anymore. 3 weeks later, the phone rang. It was James, but his voice was very tense. "Mom, I need to come immediately." "Why, son?" "Mr. Morrison called. He wants to discuss your will." "What about my will?" "Mom, you removed me from the inheritance?" "Yes." "Why?" "Come, let's talk." James came an hour later. Jessica was with him too. Both were very tense. "Mom, what does this mean?" James asked. "James, sit down. Jessica, you sit too." "Mom, answer me. Why did you remove me from the inheritance?" "Because you removed me from your life." "What?" "James, I lived for you for 40 years. You labeled me as interfering, pushy, not at your level in the last 2 years." Jessica intervened. "We didn't say that." "Jessica, yesterday at the hospital you said I was being pushy. Your mother said I was not at your level." James was surprised. "My mother said what?" "Your mother said, 'Helen, you're not at our level. You're a retired nurse. We're from a different world.'" James looked at Jessica. "Is this true?" Jessica blushed. My mother sometimes." "Is this true, Jessica?" "Yes, but she didn't mean it that way." "How did she mean it?" "Just, you're in our social circle now. Your mother is a bit." "A bit what?" "A bit old-fashioned." James stood up. "Jessica, do you find my mother old-fashioned?" "James, calm down." "No, I won't calm down. This woman raised me. How can you call her pushy?" Jessica started crying. We were newlyweds. I wanted space. Did you need to humiliate my mother to get space? I didn't humiliate her. Jessica, you called my mother pushy at the hospital. Your mother said my mother was not at our level? Isn't this humiliation? Jessica was silent. James turned to me. Mom, I didn't know. James, you knew. But you didn't speak up. Mom, James, you should have protected me instead of allowing them to humiliate me. Mom, I love you. James, love is shown through actions, not words. What can I do? James, it's too late now. Mom, please, I'll change. James, I waited for you to change for 2 years. I've stopped waiting now. Jessica intervened. I'm sorry. Really, I behaved wrongly. Jessica, you're apologizing because my inheritance is gone. Why didn't you apologize 2 years ago? Jessica was silent. And Jessica, I'm not Aunt anymore. I'm Helen. Helen, please. Emma needs to have a grandmother. I wanted to be Emma's grandmother. But you found me pushy. I was wrong. Jessica, you were right. I really am pushy. Because I fight for my family. But you didn't want that. James spoke again. Mom, what do we need to do? James, you don't need to do anything. Mom, please change your decision. James, I am changing my decision. James looked hopefully, but not in the direction you want. What do you mean? Not just the inheritance? We have no relationship anymore. Mom! James, you removed me from your life. I'm removing you from mine too. Mom, don't do this. James, I'm 62 years old. I'll spend my remaining years with people who love me. But I love you. No, James, you don't love me. You just love my inheritance. These words were painful, but true. Mom, this isn't fair. James, you weren't fair to me for 2 years. Now I'm not being fair to you. Jessica was crying. Helen, please think of Emma. Jessica, you didn't think of Emma when you humiliated me at the hospital. Please. Jessica, you and James will take very good care of Emma, because you're very rich, aren't you? Both were silent. But now you'll take care of her without my money. That day when they left the house, James was crying. Mom, please think one last time. James, I thought for 2 years. I've made my decision now. Mom, if I lose you... James, you already lost me. I just realized it. After they left, my house was very quiet. But this silence wasn't the silence of loneliness. It was the silence of peace. The next day, my neighbor Margaret came. Helen, I heard everything. You made the right decision. Do you think so? Helen, I've been watching you sad for 2 years. You look stronger now. It was true. I felt stronger. A week later, James called. Mom, I talked to Jessica. She's really sorry. James, Jessica isn't sorry. Jessica is panicking. Mom, we'll change. James, it's too late. Mom, give us one last chance. James, I gave you chances for 2 years. Mom, Emma is your granddaughter. James, Emma will be my granddaughter if you treat me like a grandmother. How should we treat you? James, you shouldn't need to ask this question. Mom, please. James, I've made my decision. Don't call me anymore. I hung up the phone. From that day on, James called a few more times, but I didn't answer. He left messages, but I didn't listen. A month later, there was a knock at my door. James and Jessica were at my door with Emma. Mom, please open the door, James called. I opened the door. Emma was a very beautiful baby. My heart was melting, but my mind was clear. What do you want? Mom, we wanted to introduce Emma to you. No need to introduce. I'll be a pushy grandmother, remember? Jessica stepped forward. Helen, please. I did very wrong. Jessica, you didn't do wrong. You showed your true face? No, I was just scared. What were you scared of? Of, of losing you? Of losing James? Jessica, you weren't scared of losing me? You were scared of sharing me? Maybe, maybe you're right. But I understand now. What do you understand? You're James's mother, and Emma's grandmother, and I was very stupid. James intervened. Mom, we really changed. How did you change? Jessica and I talked. We talked about everything, and we understood that you were right. About what? About everything. We excluded you, we humiliated you, and we were very wrong. Emma started crying at that moment. Jessica rocked her, but the sound didn't stop. Can I? James asked. What? Emma, maybe you can calm her down. When I took Emma in my arms, she immediately stopped, as if she knew me. My heart was melting, but my mind was determined. Beautiful baby, I said. Mom, you're her grandmother. No, James, I'm just a stranger, as Jessica said. Mom, Jessica apologized. James, apologizing is easy. Making up for the damage is hard. What do we need to do? James, there's nothing you need to do, because it's too late now. Jessica started crying. Helen, please. I don't want Emma to have a grandmother who isn't a grandmother. Jessica, you wanted Emma to have a grandmother who isn't a grandmother. Now, you have to accept it. Helen, I'm an idiot, but please don't punish Emma. Jessica, I'm not punishing Emma. I'm protecting Emma. Why are you protecting her? Because I'll be a pushy grandmother, and you don't want that. I gave Emma back to Jessica. And don't come to my door again. Because you're being pushy. As I closed the door, James called, Mom! But I didn't turn back. That night, I cried. A lot. Because I had loved Emma very much. But at the same time, I was proud. Because I had defended myself. The next day, my neighbor Margaret came. Helen, I saw them yesterday. They looked very sad. Margaret, they're not sad, they're panicking. Why? Because they lost my inheritance. Do you really think so? Margaret, if they were really sad, they would have apologized 2 years ago. Margaret thought I was right. 3 months passed. James occasionally sent messages, but I didn't reply. One day, a very strange message came. Mom, Emma took her first steps. She learned to say, Grandma, we miss you very much. This message tore my heart apart, but I didn't reply. A week later, my neighbor Margaret came. She had a photo in her hand. Helen, this is from Facebook. James shared it. In the photo was Emma. She was trying to walk, smiling. James had written below. Emma misses her grandmother very much. Grandma, please come back. I started crying. Helen, maybe you should give one more chance. Margaret, I gave many chances. But Emma is innocent. Margaret, Emma is innocent, but her parents aren't. Maybe they really changed? Margaret, people don't change, only their needs change. But as I went to bed that night, I was thinking about Emma. I had missed her first steps. I had missed her first words. 6 more months passed. Emma was now 14 months old. I hadn't heard from James at all. One day while shopping at the market, I saw Jessica. She was pushing Emma in a stroller. Emma had grown a lot. She was very beautiful. When Jessica saw me, she approached. Helen, hello. Hello, Jessica. Emma, this is Grandma, she said to Emma. Emma looked at me, then smiled. Gamma, she said. My heart melted. Hello, Emma. Jessica started crying. Helen, please. Emma wonders about you very much. Every time she sees an elderly woman, she says, Gamma? These words were painful, but I was enduring. Jessica, Emma will get used to it. Helen, please. I really changed. How did you change? I talked to my mother. I told her how wrong we behaved. She apologized too. Patricia apologized? Yes. And Helen, I even thought about divorcing James. I was surprised by this statement. Why? Because I caused us to lose you. And James is very unhappy. And Emma? Emma is looking for a grandmother. Emma reached out her hand to me at that moment. Gamma, up! I wanted to pick her up, but I held myself back. Jessica, it's too late. Why is it too late? Because once trust is broken, it can't be put back together. Helen, we really love you. Jessica, you don't love me. You're afraid of me. Why are we afraid? You're afraid of losing my inheritance. No! We're afraid of losing you. Jessica, if I didn't have an inheritance, would you still come? Jessica paused. She couldn't answer. That's your answer, Jessica. Emma was still looking at me. Gamma, home? These words tore my heart apart. No, sweetheart, Gamma can't come home. Emma started crying. Jessica was crying too. Helen, please think one last time. Jessica, I've been thinking for 1 year. My decision hasn't changed. That day as I left the market, I was very sad. But I was determined. That evening, Mr. Morrison called. Mrs. Coleman, you said you wanted to make one last change to your will. Yes? What is it? I want to establish a trust fund for Emma. Who is Emma? My granddaughter. But you removed James from the inheritance. I didn't remove Emma. How much? $1 million. But she can't touch it until she's 25. I understand. And nothing for James, Jessica? Nothing. Okay, I'm preparing it. When I established that trust fund for Emma, I felt better. At least I had prepared a secure future for her. 2 more years passed. Emma was now 3 years old. I hadn't heard from James at all. But Margaret sometimes brought news from Facebook. Helen, Emma started kindergarten. Good. And Helen, James quit his job. Why? I don't know, but Jessica's mother is very angry. She said, "How do you quit your job in this economy?" This news interested me. A week later, the phone rang. It was James. Mom, please don't hang up the phone. James, I told you not to call. Mom, I lost my job. I know. Mom, I need your help. James, you are a rich man. Jessica's family is rich. Mom, they refused to give us money. Why? Because they're also angry that we lost you. This answer surprised me. What do you mean? Mom, Jessica's father said, if you lost your own mother, why should we trust you? Really? Yes, and Mom, we're really in a difficult situation. James, I can help you. James said with joy. Really? Yes, but I have conditions. I'll accept any condition. First condition, I want you to apologize to Jessica. For what? For finding me pushy. And you need to apologize too. Okay, what else? Second condition, I'll be able to see Emma at least twice a week. Okay. Third condition, I'll have a say in family decisions. Of course. And the last condition, you won't talk to me like this again. Mom, I accept all of them. James, accepting conditions is easy. Implementing them is hard. Mom, we'll implement them. Please. Okay, James. Come tomorrow. Let's talk. The next day, James came with Jessica and Emma. Emma had grown a lot. She was talking now. Gamma! She ran to me. I hugged her, the hug I had missed for 2 years. Hello, my little princess. Gamma, I missed you. My heart melted, but my mind was clear. Jessica approached. Helen, I'm very sorry. I behaved very wrongly toward you. Jessica, why did you behave wrongly? Because I was jealous. What were you jealous of? Of James's love for you. Jessica, love multiplies when shared. It doesn't decrease. I understand now. James also approached. Mom, I'm very sorry too. I should have protected you instead of allowing others to humiliate you. James, why didn't you protect me? Because I was a coward. Why were you afraid? I was afraid of losing Jessica. James, weren't you afraid of losing me? I was. But I thought you'd always be there. James, nobody is always there. I know now. Emma asked at that moment, Gamma, toys? I brought out the toys I had bought her before. Emma was very happy. Emma, do you love Gamma? Yes, Gamma best. My heart completely melted. Okay, I said. One last chance. James and Jessica hugged with joy. But, I said, I have rules. We'll accept any rule, James said. First rule, decisions about Emma will be made with my approval too. Okay. Second rule, I'll be included in family gatherings. Of course. Third rule, I'll be seen as part of the family during holidays. You already are. And the last rule, if you exclude me again, this time it will really be the last. We understand, Mom. From that day on, everything slowly started to get better. I saw Emma 3 times a week, playing games with her. James and Jessica had really changed too. 6 months later, James found a new job, a more modest company, but honest work. Jessica also started working part-time. A year later, I changed my will again. I made James an heir again, but Emma's trust fund remained the same. Now Emma is 5 years old. She loves me very much, and I love her very much. James and Jessica also see me as an inseparable part of the family. Last week was Emma's birthday. We threw a big party. When Emma was blowing out her cake, she said, I wish Gamma lives forever. At that moment, I understood that my struggle wasn't in vain. Sometimes we have to defend ourselves. Sometimes we have to say no. And sometimes we have to make our loved ones go through difficult times so they understand our true value. James now really appreciates me. Jessica also sees me as the family's grandmother. And Emma, in Emma's eyes, I'm the best grandmother in the world. This is a story about protecting boundaries. Love shouldn't open the door to disrespect. And sometimes, the people we love most can hurt us the most. But remember, not every story has a happy ending. I was lucky. They really changed. But it's not always like that. What's important is that you know your own worth and don't let anyone look down on you. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share your own stories in the comments. Your voice matters.